and the Capitol. It's all sort of white. It's a little hard to see, but it's way down there. I can't even see it on the camera. And I'm here, see on the other side is Abe's house. Abe Lincoln sits up there. Big sucker on a big chair. Uh, but here's what we should pay attention to is the Capitol. See, what's going on in the Capitol is they're still arguing about the stimulus package, okay? The House of Representatives, they're called congressmen, they already passed a bill, and they're gonna give $600 a week, in extra unemployment for, I think, till the end of the year that goes. Now, the Senate has it, and they shrank the whole package by a third. So the House wanted to give out $3 trillion, and they're down to $1 trillion. But more importantly, what they're doing is they cut out money for food. In other words, there was a special program in the initial stimulus package to give extra money for people who are short on food. But more importantly, they want to cut out this extra money for food, so nobody's going to have that extra money for food anymore. But listen to this, what they're doing. They're increasing grants for cocktails. We now have a cocktail grant. And I don't know, these people don't look in the mirror or what the hell's going on in the Senate, but it's how they can do that. Yeah, I vote for getting rid of food and helping people pay for food, but count me in for giving extra money to pay for cocktails. And that's all coming from us. The Treasury is paying for all that, whether it's the cocktails or food or whatever. So I don't know about you, but and this hasn't really officially got any, but it's a law that they all agreed upon so far. And I think after today, because we only have one more day before the unemployment runs out. It's Thursday now, and it's supposed to run out tomorrow. And it doesn't look like they're going to finish anything to do unless somebody gets fire in their butt and does something. But that's the hypocrisy of all these people. And there's hypocrisy on both sides. But now when we're in trouble and people are in deep trouble, 30 million people out of work, 20 million, I think, collecting unemployment. So you're going to cut all that out. There's no jobs to be had, right? Very few. And listen to this. The polling, okay, the Census Bureau poll every week they poll, about different things with people. And they have a household survey every week. And for the last 12 weeks, the percentage of adults, that's just adults, in household who reported either sometimes or often there is not enough to eat for the past 7 days. Okay, so this is the number of people who live in our country who don't have enough to eat at some time or other in the last 7 days. And it's not, you ran out of chocolate chip ice cream. This is having enough money to pay for any food. So often, see, and that jumped from 9.8 to 12%. So that's just in a couple months now, 12 weeks. So that's 3 months. It grew. And that's a total of 30 million people now in the United States. And that grew by 10 million in the last couple of months. 10 million more people don't have enough money to be satisfied, pay enough food. And that's kids. I mean, okay, a grown up, we could all probably lose a few pounds. But a kid, if they don't have food, they don't develop. So what's going to happen? And then also, if you don't have food yourself as a grown up, you're going to be cranky and get fired from your job, all that kind of thing. And what it does to people, we live in a country supposedly that's okay. So I don't know where they are. But cocktails. Now, here's the cocktail details. Okay, we have a thing on the books that if you take somebody out to dinner, and if that's a business expense, you could write off half of that meal. So, I mean, here in this town, people go to meals and spend like $1,000 for, half a dozen people or less to go to lunch. So they could write off half of that. Well, actually, I think it comes from the White House, is they want to get you write off all of it. You write off 100%. See, this is what we have like for corporate jets. All those corporate jets are write off before taxes. They don't pay taxes on any of that money. So if you make $1 million in your business and you put it all into buying a corporate jet for your business, You pay zero taxes. See, that's an expense. So you're cheating the government out of this money. Well, now the government's already getting money, from these companies, and now it says you could give us less money. Now, why is this a time to tell rich people to give us less money? Well, because we don't want to have to pay for food to poor people. I'm not a historian, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But two things come to mind from what I probably learned more in movies than anything else. One is that in the French Revolution, I guess the queen or whoever running the country, about the poor people who are having a revolution, because she came out and said, well, let them eat cake. Now, I don't know the significance of that or whatever it is, and that's why the people got pissed and stormed the Bastille, right? Or I think a Roman Empire falling. Man, this sounds like us in the Roman Empire falling, right? Who is that? Somebody give me a little tip. Oh, thanks, Mrs. Queen. So the Roman Empire falling, I could imagine these rich people, fat cats, or I don't know who the hell they were, but that they were also worried about eating and drinking and stuff like that. And now, when we're in the biggest trouble in our history of the United States, probably, is that we're worrying about people who go out on businesses that can't write off their cocktails as a business expense. Shit, you just don't go out at all if you're why do that? That's not necessary to do in business. How many new members have I ever taken you to lunch and have a cocktail? No, you can do business very well without even going to lunch or dinner. And they just do it to impress other people. Who the hell knows why? What motivates us, man? If I knew that, I wouldn't be trying to hustle subscriptions. And I don't see myself hustling subscriptions. I see myself really trying to educate people about what this country has to offer. Good or bad, right or wrong, that's here, particularly in times of need. You have to know this. What's going on. And that's why you got to call these senators and tell them, this is stupid, or have your mother call. Because if you don't think it's stupid, your mother does. Okay, have her call 202-224-3121. Your mother knows that you can't go out and buy a cocktail before you feed yourself. And as a country, that's what we're doing. Okay, we're not going to take money to feed people who are hungry and can't work properly or whatever the hell may happen. Instead, we're going to have people be able to go and buy cocktails, and we'll pay for that instead. Now, mom knows that, right? So if you're not sure if this is right or wrong, call your mother, give her this number, 202-224-3121. Now, when you call that number, there's a couple things you want to do. First of all, you start with the Senate, because that's where it is. The House has everything they could possibly do, plus probably more, and that's debatable too. But and the Senate is holding everything up with stuff like this, So you got to tell them, hey, we're hurting. They have to know this from individuals, because they're not. Nobody who votes up there is hurting. They're not worrying about not having enough food. They just call a lobbyist and get Omaha steaks delivered to their country home. Actually, I think that's illegal anymore, but it's something similar. The lobbyists find a way around that. Believe me, I've been in this town long enough that any law that is put up to stop something, they'll find a way around it. That's their job, right? To influence these people. So have mom call your senator, get the senator's phone number, because you'll need that. In the next week or two, they're going to finish this bill, and it's going to come out. And then you're going to have questions. You're going to have problems. Hey, where the hell's my check? What did you do? I did this and I didn't get it or whatever. That's who you call. I'll try to help you if I can, but they'll know more than me. They can help you better than I can. I can't call the IRS and tell them to do something for you. They can. See? They have a backdoor phone right to the IRS, just for senators and congressmen. So they don't have to wait in line like the rest of us. And the reason the IRS and the other agencies have that is so that they can solve their problems faster. And why do they want to solve their problems faster? Because they're the ones that really pay the IRS and everybody else in the government, whether it's the SBA, IRS, Department of Labor, whatever. They're the ones that pay them. You and I pay, that comes from our taxes. but the Capitol Hill decides how much money they're going to get. So in theory, they're the decision makers about the IRS getting more money, the SBA getting more money, and everything. So that's why they handle the elected officials separately. And it's the same at the state level. That's why if you have problems with your unemployment stuff, that's going through the state, and they're still backed up and screwed up and can't get it straight. And when this new bill comes out, it's going to be worse. They'll still get it going. Somebody want to change something, and these are programs at the state level that are written when I was a coder. I used to code in COBOL and all these other ancient languages, or computer languages that are now in the Smithsonian. They still run half the government in some of these states, and even here in Washington. That's why in Y2K I was like, oh, I'm going to be back in demand as a COBOL programmer. Because the financial services industry was all like that too. So that's why they're important, for you to know that that's how the system works. So if you want an agency to do something for you, that's what you do. You call your elected official. That's why this town has 7,000 lobbyists in this town. Because every fat cat knows that, and they don't call them themselves. They have professional caller-uppers who go play country. They belong to the same country clubs as the congressman and all this kind of stuff. So they play it inside. But you're an outside. That's okay. You won't get $1 million, but all you want is $500. And so that's easy. So for a phone call, you'll get your $500 and then vote for these people forever. And then they're secured a job. Now, that may be right or wrong too, right? Unfortunately, that's a system. I guess we call that democracy, or lobbying, or graft, or we have all kinds of names for that, don't we? What's in a name? And the important thing is not what it's labeled as, is that it's a tool. You want to use it or you don't want to use it. That's up to you, and that's what's cool about it. I mean, there's no reason your life, I don't know, may or may not be a lot different if you don't get that extra money or something like that. I don't know. You only knows that, not what it means now. Certainly it'll be less painful, and that's the thing. Why are we doing something purposely to hurt people when we don't have to? Let's get everybody strong and then worry about our priorities. Right now, sure, there's some legitimacy for them having a lunch, or I don't know what it is, but it's a lunch compared to what? There's certainly no legitimacy, to them having a lunch and a child or someone who can't afford a meal, take advantage of it. And that's what they're doing up there, because, if I don't get it in now, I'll never get it in. This is the time, and nobody's looking, I bet, and I just stick this in, And unfortunately, that's the way a lot of this stuff works. We elect them, they represent us. Right? And whether you voted for them or not, this is the way democracy is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. So we're all going to vote again soon. So take it out or don't take it out, or appreciate who did what. I don't know. That's up to you. That's a personal decision. It's sort of like religion to me. It's hard to get through this life. We're all guessing, and nobody knows the proper answer. And whether you're left or right or center or weird, sure. Somebody wants to take a picture. Take a picture of the guy taking me a picture. There he is. There he is. Hi. Where did he go? There he is. There he is. Love it. All right, thank you. Take care. And we all struggle, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. I mean, nobody has the right answer. And that's why when we don't really know for sure, or we get politics or ideology in the way, we have to look at moral things. And that's, to me, the important questions, are things that are morally right or wrong. Whether you have more money for a lunch or not, I mean, that's debatable. Maybe you should, but it is, if you're hurting someone that's poor, that's it. So how do we do that first? Let's take care of that and then debate this other stuff, if we have money. But now there's so many people. To me, I see it as our house is on fire. We're burning down, man. And they don't feel it because they have enough money to get out of it. But we have a third of our, well, not a third, 30 million are unemployed, 20 million are getting unemployment. there's 30, 40 million don't have health insurance. We got so many goddamn problems, that we seem to ignore as long as we get, a free cocktail. Well, sometimes it's easy to please the masses. But thank you for putting up with me. The phone number again, call your senator, go to 202-224-3121 and tell them what you feel about this thing. If you think I'm full of shit, hey, get in line. I'm sure there are other people. I've been around too long to have that worry about that too much. I think about it when somebody tells me. I still get a lot. You should get a whole lot. 202-224-3121 and let them know how you feel. We live in a democracy. You have the right, no matter what you believe, to call those suckers and let them know. And that's the important thing. And the problem is somebody who's in need sometimes doesn't have the energy to do that. Sort of like being in the hospital. You need an advocate with you in the hospital because you're not well enough to think if you're getting the right penicillin, you're getting the right needle, they're chopping off the right leg, and all that kind of stuff. That's why you need an advocate. So if you're weak, have somebody else call the Capitol Hill for you, that number, 202-224-3121, and tell them to contact your senator, give them your zip code, and they'll tell the senators, there's 2 of them, call them each and tell them how you feel. Or have them tell you, I'm calling for Mrs. Kowalski, she really doesn't have the energy to do that, but she told me to tell you, God, you can't do that. And just go on to whatever you feel is important. It's important that you feel you have input. And this is really a way. And then you have the other way is voting. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. But I think now it depends on the numbers. So that's why if you say, everybody else will do it, well, you know that game. We have to show by example too. That's why you're probably not going to change the world. It's too complicated, but you can change your part by example. So if you're doing that thing and expressing your thing in a polite manner, that's the more examples we need. Then this, hey, somebody sees you, hey, I should do that too. And so you're really helping other people to realize, even if they don't agree with you, they'll think about, okay, I should do for what I believe. And so if we're all at least get our voice heard, then you feel a little better about the outcome because, well, I tried. Maybe next time I got to try harder. Okay, guys, let's go help. I got a lot of people, a lot of questions I got to finish up when I go back in a little bit. I may do another quick video. I got one on the 5 best places I'm going to send on if you're thinking about starting a business. There's actually about 3 or 4 that I want to make everybody know about. Whether you're a member or not, I want to give you the websites, okay? So I'll be back soon.